nope. Let's give it up for everyone. So, I prepared a speech today. I'm mainly speaking to the students, and I hope y'all hear me. Thank you. I was told that this year's theme for Black History Month was from slavery to freedom. So I asked myself, what does that mean? And then I thought about when I was in middle school. And when I was growing up, African American history was limited to 2 to 4 pages in the history book. A minority's history is often treated as a field trip as opposed to an actual lesson that requires much learning and understanding, and that's messed up. My teacher told me about this lady who reminded me of my grandma, Harriet Tubman. She guided the slaves to freedom. Then there was Martin Luther King, who had a dream of a better world. Then there was Rosa Parks. She didn't get out of her seat. It was a lot of information to take in at once, but one thing was for sure, African Americans always seemed to be fighting to escape, fighting to read, fighting to learn, fighting to sit where we want to sit on a bus, in a restaurant, fighting to matter, fighting to vote, fighting for our children, fighting for our children's children, fighting for better living conditions. So every year I walked away from history class feeling so tired from my ancestors, hoping that when I went to high school, I would read the conclusion of our freedom. And we would be done fighting, but no, the fights just continue. So then I was in high school. And not only did the fights continue in the history books, that they mentally continued for me. But since they didn't stop fighting, neither did I. Although sometimes it appears that no one could see, what I faced at home when no one was around me inspiring me to keep going. I thought about those who came before me who did not give up. The more I read the incomplete pages of their history, the more I took it upon myself to keep going, so that years from now, my life story won't be lost. So I'm not here to talk about how bad slavery was. I'm not here to talk about the racism we witness every day by people in power, nor am I here to talk about how bad we may have it as people. Nor am I here to talk about or say that you must protest every cause that comes your way. I want you to find what you love and just be great at that. You doing your homework, you working towards your goals is a protest within itself. Because you are doing everything that they said a kid from the east side could not do and won't do, don't plan on doing. We still have the freedom and the power that is our minds, that is your minds. Black History Month is about a history of kings and queens named slaves turned fighters named resilient. A lot of people forget what happened before slavery, who were kings and queens. And you guys still are kings and queens, and don't let nobody else tell you any different. The ability to get back up again and keep pushing and fighting for what you believe in is resilience, and that's what we are. That's what Wheatley is. That's what we are as a people. In middle school, we have battles that we already face, and some more than others, but I do want to shout y'all out for coming back. I want to shout y'all out for coming back, for keeping on trying. And we may be treated differently than others. Sometimes we may feel alone. We may mess up. We may get into a physical fight. But what we must realize is that if we are still living and breathing, we must be resilient and try again tomorrow. If you messed up today, this morning, there's always tomorrow. Always remember, there's always tomorrow. Until you give up, then there's no tomorrow. But continue to keep pushing. Whether you're Latino, Mexican, African American, you have something that your ancestors fought for you to have today. You have the privilege. You have the privilege of being a part of a history of powerful, strong, educated people, resilient people. Students, look to your right. This is your history. These are your people. These are people that have done things that came before you, and they're here with all the information that you may need. They've been in your shoes before. This was their school, literally. Like, look to them. They can guide you. Don't discount the information that they give you. Don't discount the information that your teachers give you. Don't discount any of that, because they're just trying to help you from making mistakes that they may have made so that you're on the right path. You have the privilege of being part of the history of strong, powerful, educated people, of resilient people who have learned, gathered resources and tools, even when the world was against them. And now we read their stories. Now we hear their story. We see movies about their stories that show that they were once in your shoes, and it's up to you, students, to continue the legacy that is now your generation. Years from now, you'll be sitting in the same places that they were sitting, looking back on your lives. And what do you want to have to say about that? Ask yourself. The freedom that you find will not be in the world, but what you think of yourselves and what you plan to do with the challenges you face every day, every morning, every time you go home, every time you leave home. Your freedom should not rely on the government or Donald Trump in office, or not, but instead you got to have this mindset that you control how hard you try, not those in the government, not anyone. And you will do what is necessary to break your own personal chains. I can't answer that for you. I don't know what all of you are going through, but I know each individual one of us is going through something. And it's up to us to break our own personal chains. So, I identify as African American. And I want to tell you a story about my privilege, about my ancestry, and what it is like to be part of such a resilient ancestry. You see, we took the sun and wore it as art, and that right there is my Black privilege. Black privilege dates all the way back to working in the village, working in conditions where they caught us nothing but freedom master never thought of, had us wading in the water, swinging low, sweet, they carrying our track along the strange fruit on trees. Water brought us down to our knees. Martin King had a drink, Jabaz spoke by eating beans. That's how we woke up, but I messed up and they choked up. In all black, we choked up like power, we woke up. Surviving the worst adversity. It's a crime to be as dark as me. So we're Sandra, Trayvon wanted skills and team. Appropriation is appropriate. I'm not your personal commodity. Just don't forget the history when you paint your face as dark as me. Just go into a miracle. You wish you could be so lyrical and versatile. Our dance week is a miracle. The darker you, the more cool. We see the queen, you know what you do. They tell us school when they fool you. Those numbers represent you. Your history must concern you. Professors don't look like you. All teammates is impossible. Let them CJ with a hot phone. Latimer gave us life, and Morgan gave us pocket control. She'll take home the gold and that cannot be sold. Black pitch cannot be sold. 2016, we still out here. Of course, in our city called G there. We're made for signs of life. They are replacing the structures everywhere. Black privilege. What's your privilege, students? Figure that out.